Hey guys, welcome back to 3Preet podcast. This is Jazz, and this week we're going to be talking about college. Everything from what we majored in, what college we chose, our friends, parties, academics, everything. So a little background information. I just graduated this spring from UNH with my bachelor's in international business and economics and a minor in architecture. Harpreet, what about you?
Hi everyone, this is Preets. I went to Keene State College, and the reason I picked Keene State is because it was basically the only four-year college that I got into, so I went. Going into Keene, I was going to major in nursing. I thought it was going to be easy to get into, but in the end of the day, I picked health science and declared it my senior year, and then told my parents that I wasn't doing nursing my senior year.
Damn, that's heavy.
Yeah, that was great.
What about you, Amin?
So I also went to University of New Hampshire, and for me, when I was a senior in high school, I had to choose between either UNH or Northeastern in Boston, and I ended up touring Northeastern, and it was more expensive. I knew that going in, but also when I took my tour, it just felt a lot less like me. And when I went to see UNH after, it felt more like home. So I ended up going to UNH because it was cheaper. I actually got a part scholarship to go there, and it just felt more like home.
So what people don't really know is Harpreet, you have been like the only person in our family who didn't go to UNH, except for my brother Amrinder, which only happened recently. How did it feel going in, moving in, living on campus for the first time?
So I transferred in from a community college, so I started with community college near home, and then I decided that I wanted to move out and go to a four-year college that was about 2 hours away. And that experience for the first time was frightening, and then it became such a normal thing that I wanted to be on campus and not go back home, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so moving on campus, I got my independence. I learned how to manage my money, kind of. And then I got to experience a lot of things, got to make really great best friends that I'm best friends with today. And I was able to get into higher ed through that.
I feel like we have really similar stories in the sense that we both love living on campus and we can't like imagine not living there. It's like honestly one of the best experiences, and I feel like I grew so much from like being in high school, living at home all the time, to like living on my own, finally finding that independence that I've been like wanting.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
the fact that like, I don't know, you've had such like an interesting story. You went from community college to like your 4 years, and then you got your master's.
Hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, from the both of us, Amin kind of has a different story, and I think that that's important too, because a lot of students do go through the same process as Amin did too. So
Yeah. So I think it's interesting because I don't think any of us have matching experiences. Like, Harper, you went like really far out of our hometown. So you went 2 hours away to Keene.
Yep.
And then Justpreet also lived at college, but your college was only about 15, 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would say that I have like the most typical college story versus you and Harpreet, who had like very different ones.
Yeah. And then so for me, I was actually a commuter for all 4 years of college. And the reason I decided to commute was, again, I really wanted to save money. And I knew that if I have my scholarship to UNH and I'm not paying money for room and board, school would be really, really cheap for me. And I wanted to go to grad school after, so I knew I'd be spending that eventually. So that was my rationale for being a commuter.
Did you wish you could have lived on campus?
I think like I probably should have lived on campus my first year. I think that's the year that it's the most important. I don't think by the time you're a senior it matters if you live on campus because a lot of people end up just living in like apartments near campus. No one really lives in dorms senior year. So I think for anyone else who's thinking about commuting like I did, I'd recommend even for a semester, live on campus your freshman year and then go ahead and like save the money and come home. But overall, just knowing my personality, I think I was a pretty happy commuter. I don't think I would have been as happy living on campus, but I don't know.
Do you feel like you like lost some opportunity being a commuter? Did you feel as part of the community at UNH?
Yeah, so I didn't bring this up in the beginning, but I majored in biochemistry and I was just a busy science major, so I couldn't really do a lot of things anyway. I think if I had lived on campus, I would have been probably in the library a lot, um, just studying for like chem and bio. So I don't know. I think I might have been a tiny bit more involved, but I had opportunities as a freshman to be like a vice president of the Indian Students Association, and I turned it down just because I was so busy. So I think it leveled out as I went through my 4 years. I definitely had more time and I got more involved, even though I was still a commuter.
I did not know they offered you the vice presidency of that organization. I'm so
They
shocked.
did.
I didn't know that either. Way to hide
Literally.
it.
You don't know everything about me.
We really don't, though. So,
So,
Harpreet, you like kind of touched earlier about like moving in as like a non-traditional student. How was like the whole move-in process for you and like roommates?
yeah, my first semester at Keene, I was between a sophomore and a junior because of the amount of credits that I had. And so I lucked out and got a suite styled housing situation. And so that was really nice because I didn't have to share a communal bathroom with 30 other girls. I just had to share a bathroom with 3 other girls that weren't messy. I was really lucky, but when I got to Keene, I didn't get an orientation because I transferred in spring semester and there was nothing out there for transfers for orientation. But my roommate was an angel and she showed me everywhere where my classes were, where the dining commons was. So I really looked out like that.
Oh, Harpreet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
I didn't have friends.
But you made them eventually, and we love them.
Yeah, later on I made friends, but
Shout
beginning,
out to Jess.
yeah.
Wait, so how did you get through that time? Because I think like a lot of people can relate to that, even outside of college, like moving to a new city for, a job that you need to take. So how did you get through the no friends part?
So I basically only went to class to get food and then I came back to my room. And then eventually, I think a lot of students experience this. A lot of students went back home for the weekend, and that's what I ended up doing. And my family were angels because it took 2 hours to get here and then 2 hours back. So that'd be 4 hours each, actually 8 hours each weekend.
Yeah.
So when I didn't have friends, I was kind of content, not gonna lie. I didn't feel like I was alone. But then I knew there were clubs that I wanted to join, but I just was so shy and in my bubble.
Mhm.
And movies on Netflix sufficed for me, honestly. Netflix was my best friend. And then like video chatting or calling family got me through it. So, but eventually making friends was really nice. So I thought we could like kind of switch gears and talk about like our transition from freshman to sophomore year and what we kind of did between the summer and then going into our sophomore year. So How did you all change from freshman to sophomore year?
I think for me, from senior year high school to freshman year, I changed so much. I became more social. I had like, I don't know, I had like my core group of friends. I was like up to do anything. And I feel like I just blossomed. And then sophomore year came around and I kind of was doing the same thing as freshman year. So I personally did not feel like I grew until sophomore summer when I became like an orientation leader. And like I got so much more I felt like I was like evolving more as a person and I was like improving and I was just making the strides I needed to make. So I feel like sophomore year kind of like stumped me on like the whole growth pyramid, but like I eventually started growing again.
Yeah, I think that sophomore year, it was kind of rough because for me, like the newness of being a freshman had faded, and like I took general bio, general chem, and sophomore year for science majors is always the organic chem year, which is like it's not a hard subject. Like I think people blow it out of proportion. It's not like so difficult, but it isn't kind of intense with class and also labs. So organic chem was a hard year, and it just seemed like freshman year is gone, and
Yeah.
senior year is so far away, and the subject matter like really ramped up, especially because chem is known as like a weed out class, so they intentionally kind of make it tough on science majors. So I don't know, sophomore year, I I googled like sophomore slump a lot that year, just because I wanted to feel like other people were also going through it, because it is a thing, the sophomore slump, like that time frame of just having to push through.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of, I think even you were in biochem, but I think talking just sophomore year in general, everybody's workload is to the highest level.
Yeah.
And so a lot of students are either stressed and they don't want to do their major anymore and then they switch.
Sophomore year is definitely the weed out year because for Paul College, we have accounting that year and that is our weed out class. Sophomore year is just a grind. My other thing is, I feel like freshman year, everything is so new. Junior year, you can like go to the bars / the big study abroad year.
Yeah.
And then senior year, you're graduating. Sophomore year is just there, and it's kind of shitty.
It is. Yeah, my from freshman to sophomore year, I definitely was way more social my sophomore year. I joined I joined a multicultural club. That's where I found my niche. And so I was thankful because my RA during sophomore year had told me about the club, but I knew about the club prior to that. But she kind of pushed me to join that club. And so I went when they were meeting on a Tuesday night, and there I met one of my best friends, Jess. Yes, this is a shout out. And so from there, like we built our friendship and then we bonded because we had something in common of being like students of color on the campus. And so freshman to sophomore year was definitely a positive thing for me socially.
That's good. Going
Yeah.
from Netflix being your friend to meeting friends.
Yeah, so what did you all kind of do during your summers between like one school year to the next?
It was all jobs. It was like get that work experience. And like before college, I never had like a real job. So it was like I had to figure out how to like work for someone else. So I started working at TJ Maxx. It was a good experience. I learned how to like deal with difficult people and like I don't know, I learned how to work. And then I also was like an orientation leader my senior year and sophomore summer year. And that was like the best experience ever. You both know it. I'm like obsessed with being an orientation leader. One of my favorite things I've ever done.
Yeah, I kind of came home during the summer. There were things that were going on campus during the summer, but I never got involved with that. But I was basically working at the restaurant as a waitress during the summer, making money, saving up money for the next school year.
You need to get that alcohol money.
For me, I was also working at the restaurant as a waitress, and I also did a lot of shadowing, like job shadowing for
Yeah.
just like doctors in the medical field. And then if I wasn't doing that, I was just kind of like a huge nerd in college, I guess. I was taking classes, like summer classes. So sophomore year, I took physics, and then junior year, the summer after, I took microbiology with Harpreet, actually, which was really cool.
Oh shit.
That was really cool because I never thought we'd go to college together, and we kind of did for like 5 weeks.
I went to UNH for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, so we've all been to UNH. I stand.
But I'm an owl for life, so.
I actually have a question. Did you guys ever feel pressured to get an internship? Because I knew I always felt pressured. Like, I need to get an internship. I need to land one, blah, blah, blah.
I know my parents were like, oh, people are getting internships. Don't you need one? And I'm like, no, actually, I don't, because it wasn't required. And a lot of other majors require an internship in their like curriculum, and so mine didn't have that. And so my parents would be like, why don't you get an internship? And I'm like, I don't need one, so not gonna get one.
Yeah, I think a lot of non-science majors focus on internships, but for science majors, I don't know. I never heard about needing to intern during the summer. And what did I do? Yeah, I just did a bunch of shadowing, so I never really thought about it.
Yeah. I always felt pressure, like heartbreak from the parents being like, why don't you get an internship? Why don't you get an internship? And I just I came to a point where I was like, I want to be happy. I don't want to do an internship because I don't know what I want to major in. Because I declared my major sophomore year, but I was never sure of it. So I just did a job that I wanted to do and had fun with it and was like, I don't need to intern.
You definitely went through a lot of like stress related to declaring a major, right?
It was the hardest thing ever because at first I was an accounting major and then I took accounting and it was trash. And then I always liked finance, so I became a finance major my sophomore year. And then junior year, I studied abroad in London, literally had the best time, and I took a lot of international business courses because I was a dual major at the time. And then I came home, realized I didn't want to do anything in finance. I had like this whole realization my second semester senior year that I wasn't happy. The only reason I was a finance major is because I like to say I was a finance major. I just liked the sound of being a finance major, not the course load, not the curriculum. Literally called Harpreet and Amin and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. There's something wrong. Like, what do I do? Dropped my major second semester senior year, like a few days before ad drop time was over. And finally found happiness and started taking classes I enjoyed. Second semester senior year.
Well, you also had like 2 majors and a minor, right? So
so I was an architecture minor. Got to complete the architecture minor because I dropped my finance major, and I hope to do my master's next year in architecture.
nice.
Yay.
Woo! But Harpreet, I feel like, also had a lot of trouble with like her major only because she never told her parents.
Yeah.
About that. So
Yeah.
my journey and what I wanted to do was so confusing. I, in high school, became a licensed nursing assistant, and I thought that maybe I should go into nursing. And really wasn't something that I thought about thoroughly, and like my heart was never into nursing fully that I realize now. And so I kept on fighting to get into a nursing program, couldn't get into a nursing program, did not get into the nursing program in Keene, and then I switched my major to health science because my classes closely coincided with the health science major. And so I ended up switching to health science, and I didn't declare until my senior year.
I have
That
a
was
question.
crazy.
Did you feel pressure from your parents to be a nursing major? Because like in Indian culture, it's like, be a doctor, be a lawyer, that's it.
I think my parents, I didn't think they were putting pressure on me. They knew that they only were encouraging me to do nursing is because I was just like, I want to do nursing. If I said that I wanted to do something else, they would have been like, oh, we support you. In the end of the day, they just want to see us happy in the major that, or in the career that we want to be in. And so it was kind of on me, not kind of, it was fully on me. And so telling them at the last minute in my senior year that I'm not going to be a nurse was kind of my fault. But in the end of the day, they just wanted to see me happy. And now I'm happy. So
Yeah. We stand.
yeah.
Do you want to say what you're doing now?
Yeah, so now I work as a residence director at a college in Massachusetts. And my specialty area is student affairs. So I basically am an administrator at a college.
She's the best in her college.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so we wanted to introduce a segment into the podcast, and today's segment is Would You Rather? So I'm just going to ask you guys some questions, and I want you to respond.
Okay.
All right, my first one. Would you rather know the history of every object you touched, or would you rather be able to talk to animals?
Is neither an option?
No, Owen!
Can you repeat that?
Would you rather know the history of every object you touched, or would you rather be able to talk to animals?
I'd rather be able to talk to animals because I can just look up history of different objects later on.
You don't even have an animal except for your 10 dead goldfish.
That's not my fault, and they weren't my goldfish. They were my brother's.
Well, Jasper, I'm staring at a vacuum cleaner right now, and I really don't need to know the history of a vacuum cleaner.
Okay, but like what if you're like in class and you're taking a test and like you needed to know the history of like a globe? You could just pick up the globe and know the history. I would choose the history.
Oh my gosh. If I had to choose, I'd probably pick animals.
Fine. Okay, so my next one. Would you rather be married to a 10 with a bad personality or a 6 with an amazing personality?
6.
Yeah, 6. Say
I
it.
want to say 10, but like me personally, if you have a great personality, I'll like you, which is like, ugh, because like I like ugly guys.
I have liked guys that I did not find attractive initially because they have like such good personalities. So yeah, easily 6 with a good personality.
Yeah, I met trash people who look hot. Okay, my last one. Would you rather be able to see 10 minutes into your future or anyone else's future?
10 minutes?
Yes.
Mine, obviously.
Ooh, I'd rather see someone else's. Because, like, if I constantly looking at my own future, I won't have any, like, surprise. Versus, like, say you wanted to open up this letter and you wanted to know the contents. I could just look into your future and tell you right then and there.
I'd want to see into someone else's future. I agree with Justpreet. Like, I want to be surprised with certain things in my life. There's certain things I don't want to know that's going to happen, or I could do something that won't make that certain thing happen. So I don't need to see my future.
Yeah. What if I was gonna see your car crash? I would rather see your car crash than my car crash.
But how would that work?
That's not the best example.
But how would that work though? Because if you see yourself getting into a car crash in the future and you stop yourself from getting into a car crash, your future would be different. So you would see a different future. It just seems like it would start like an endless loop of, I'm overthinking this. Never mind.
You very much are. I think my thing is like I would never want to see my death 10 minutes into the future. I would rather be able to like prevent someone else's.
Again, none of the above. Those both sound awful.
You're the worst.
You're breaking the rules of Would You Rather.
Facts.
Sorry.
Your segment, I'm gonna break the rules. And back to our scheduled programming.
Okay, so we've talked about freshman year, we've talked about sophomore and junior year, so I thought now we could talk about senior year. I know it's like a really exciting year. It was, I think if I had to pick, it was probably my favorite year of college. So, what was your guys' senior year like?
Well, I had half a senior year. Thank you, COVID-19. Ooh.
Oh, Joss.
It's fine. No, it's actually fine. I had a really fun like senior year. I had a bunch of new friends because I studied abroad the year before. And it was nice to finally be able to go to the bars legally.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I just had a very enjoyable year because I felt like there was no pressure on me. I had done the work I needed to do. It's kind of a coasting year for me. It's just time to rack up those memories with my friends and have a great time.
Yeah, senior year was a fun year. I had a lot of work to do. It was packed with work and it wasn't a cruise, but it was really fun. I went all out. Every weekend I went out to the bars. I think I had one friend that would go out with me every single weekend just because we're both crazy. It was fun. It was honestly really, really fun. If I could go back and do that year again, I would. But then the memories that I made already, they would be erased. But I would do it again. I would do it again.
I feel like we're the exact opposites. I feel like my freshman, senior year, I like did all my partying, and then senior year, I was just not about it. I would just like to hang out with my friends and watch movies. I'm not about to make that trek out wearing nothing. Like, oh, heartbreak.
Yeah, we love those strolls and snow up to your ankles.
Oh my god.
I love how you guys both always bring up like your friends and like partying and going to bars, and my responses are always like, I like school. Like that's just so interesting.
Oh my god. We've tried to have you like come out with us. That's the worst part, and you just don't.
I mean, Amin did come out with me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You
So
just turned 21. Like could never go out with you, Jess.
yeah.
I mean, not in the US. Yeah. Me abroad, we did well.
Well, so my senior year, I got to do a senior thesis, which I was kind of stressed out about to begin with, but it ended up being like a year that you get to explore like a research question you're really interested in, and it was just so chill and fun. So I did my research on the effect of calcium ionophore on SKBR3 breast cancer cells, and it was really fun.
I remember you working on it and you were like so proud of your poster and it was like really cool. And then I actually remember going into my freshman year. I also presented at the URC and it was like, I don't know, I felt like I was like living your life in that moment. I was like, oh, Amin did this her senior year. I get to do it now. It was so cool.
Wait, you did it your freshman year?
Yes, all business students are supposed to do it their freshman year.
Oh yeah. Okay, so if you're listening, URC stands for Undergraduate Research Conference. So it's just like a couple of days, like there's presentations all over the campus, and we get to present our findings that we worked all year to get. So it was definitely fun to just stand there and have people like walk up to you and you explain your research to them.
I remember how proud you were. It was like definitely one of your highlights.
Yeah, that was a good day.
I didn't do that.
That's what I'm saying. You guys always talk about bars and friends and partying, and I'm just like, oh
It's
man.
fine.
I had a capstone. I had a research paper to do, and I did that, but we didn't do like what you said, URC. Nope.
Your graduate research conference.
Yeah. A bunch of my friends actually were gonna do it this year before the whole thing happened, and I was like really excited to go see them
Oh
present.
my gosh, that's heartbreaking. Because you
Yeah.
work like, so hard. Oh man.
But yeah, honestly, your C time is usually like really exciting, just seeing like everyone out, like presenting everything that they've been working on. It's cool.
Everyone's dressed nice, and there's no more work to do, so you're just chilling.
Yeah, it's like one of those like really big things that happens in college.
Yeah. So, like after 4 years of school, what would you say was your favorite memory of college?
My favorite memory was being able to hang out with my friends in the multicultural club, only because they were the only reason why I stayed at Keene State, and so that's my favorite like memory from college.
I think I have a tie between being an orientation leader because I feel like I grew a lot during that time, and like there's something about just like meeting students and like helping them through like figuring out UNH. It's like really cute and cool. And then my second thing would be like going abroad. I think living in a new country, meeting all these different people, and I actually met one of like my new best friends through it, and it was one of my favorite experiences.
For me, it's probably like a tie between like all of like my hard work coming to like an end with URC and senior thesis academically, and then my senior year I was also part of the Indian Students Association, and I got basically like a $600 budget to like decorate for Diwali, and that was really fun because I got to order like a bunch of awesome decorations and set up, and just have unlimited cash to do whatever I want. So that was really fun.
You like left like a really big legacy doing that. They like did it for a few years after you before, well, things went
Yeah.
to shit, but
Oh, they don't do Diwali anymore?
no. But that's a topic for just us.
Oh, okay.
So, what have you guys done after college? Because I know right now I'm doing nothing, and it's kind of like I don't know what I should be doing. So, what did you guys do after college?
So after graduating from Keene, there was a year where I kind of just figured out myself and what I truly wanted to do. And I ended up being a graduate student at a college in New Hampshire called New England College. And that's where I got my master's degree in higher education administration. And that's how I ended up becoming a residence director. And so that's what I'm doing now, and we'll see what happens next.
I never knew you took a year off. That's like really interesting to me because I might be doing that. I don't know.
Taking a year off is worth it.
So after I graduated, I think Harper brought it up, and then you talked about it a little, but everyone experiences like, okay, what am I doing now? And just all that confusion that goes with being a new grad. So in the years since college, I've kind of worked a lot of different areas, and I've kind of just been learning about what I actually want. When I graduated, I was a science major, so I was kind of burnt out from school. And I knew I wanted to go to grad school, but I think I had a lot of confusion about, is this actually the right path for me, or would I be happier like with a easy office job or like working in a cubicle? So I kind of got all of that out of the way, and I've had like a job in corporate like human resources, and have also had like, I've worked at the restaurant, and so I know what that's like. And I worked in kind of different areas of the hospital when I was doing like a registration job. So I've seen like what it's like to be in the emergency room and like women and children's unit and like urgent care. So I feel like I've gained a lot of experience of what I like and what I don't like. And that has been really helpful.
Yeah. You really tested like all the boundaries that you could.
Yeah, because I think in my mind it was either, stress yourself out with grad school after like kind of having a challenging like 4 years of college or have an easy office job. Like I had that misconception in my mind and I've definitely cleared it up.
Yeah. I don't think people really notice that most people don't use like their bachelor's degree. I think 70% of people get a job outside of what they got their degree in. So it's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just like one final question. What advice would you give your freshman year self?
The advice that I would give myself is change your major now and tell your parents that you're planning on changing it. Because when I did change it and I told my parents my senior year, my parents were a little bit hurt because they were very, very proud and excited that I was going to become a nurse. They were telling people that I was going to become a nurse, and so that's the advice that I would give myself is change your major now and tell your parents.
I think the advice I would give my freshman year self is to get out more, experience new things, and don't hold back. Just put yourself out there and the world will receive you.
For me, probably a couple of things for advice. First, study abroad. That's my biggest regret of college is not studying abroad because like there's no other time that you'll have 4 months to go live in a different country and you don't have to worry so much about like rent and working and everything. So studying abroad, definitely do that if you're a freshman, plan for it. And second, I would say get more uncomfortable and get used to being uncomfortable. There were so many things that I did that it was just kind of the easy thing to do, like living at home didn't really give me the chance to like learn what it's like to be independent, and I wish I had done that. And just other situations where like maybe if I had pushed myself a little bit more it would have helped. And then the last thing, which I thankfully did do, to anyone listening, is save money. Do not go into debt for college. It's only 4 years and you have your whole life ahead of you after. And there's great schools where you won't, go bankrupt. So unless you got into Harvard, please don't take on these huge student loans because it's not worth it.
Okay.
Agreed.
I just want to wrap up the episode by saying thank you to whoever's like helped us in our college careers and just helped us get us where we are. If you're listening, thank you. And well, that's the end of our episode. Thanks for listening, guys.
All right, guys. So next week on the 3Preet podcast, we're going to be talking about what it means to be an ABCD. We're going to define it next week if you don't know what that means. And we're going to talk about how we balanced our Indian and American cultures and kind of had to find ourselves between the two. So that'll be next week.